All right, had to double check all that was working. All right, what's up, y'all? I made some additional models for post weigh-in stuff. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference in that many places, but I think for heavyweights, which we have a few of here, we could see a substantial difference. What's up, I am Ballin? Welcome in, man. We're going to check out what the new machine learning models have to say. I just wrapped them up this week, but they're all designed to be better after the weigh-ins. So we had weigh-ins today. We got some results. We're just going to see what it's got. Maybe we'll even find a couple of extra little bets to throw out there. I don't know. I've got some money left over this week, and I won't have a lot going on until the new year. So I'm a little bit interested. I want to see if I can risk a little extra monies. All right, so y'all have seen all of this. We've got Jamie Lynn Horth, Teresa Baeda. I'm not sure. I think that's an I, but it looks like an L. I don't know though. We've seen all this. This is where the new stuff's at right here. So these are our old numbers. And these are post weigh-in numbers. We got a true 50-50 here. This is interesting. So my top models here now they're all organized. So the models you see up top, the first ones listed, are going to be the highest accuracy models. Highest accuracy. It's all theoretical. That's all just based on testing in the past on existing fights. So theoretically, they're the highest accuracy models. And there'll be a couple of percentage points, sometimes just a fraction of a percent higher than the others. But it is interesting that both pre-fight or pre-weigh-in and post-weigh-in, we're seeing our highest accuracy model showing us above 60%. Anyway, we've already got Jamie Lynn Horth at plus 119 here. I don't know. Maybe I can pull it up real quick. I can't show you guys because YouTube's kind of a dick about the whole thing. But let's go to the sports book and see where Jamie Lynn Horth is now. Plus 138. She has gotten worse since the post weigh-in. Worse or better, depending on which way you're looking at it. Anyway, that's basically what we're doing here. I don't expect a whole lot of movement on anything other than potentially heavyweights. So let's move on. I'm not throwing anything else at Jamie Lynn. We're still in the same boat that we were in before, with just one model showing a little bit better, and the other two are practically identical to what they were before. Still nothing on Alan Guilherme Pat. I did track down this dude's birthday, so that's good. On the downside, he's got a decision. I don't know if it was a split decision. I don't know if it was a UD. So there's just nothing I can really do there. I can't build a fight history for him when I have an unknown like that. So we're going to move on to Melissa Croden versus Luana Santos. We had Santos pretty heavy, 2 out of 3. One of the models, the most confident model, jumped up a ton, and the other two were 50-50 still. I say still. One of them still 50-50. The other one fell very far down to 50-50. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, just like boosting up like that. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I'm not doing anything here. Interesting, though. It is. It's interesting to see. We're going to need some more fight cards with this. I'm just doing this with UFC for now. We'll see how it plays out in the long run. All of this stuff is going to be stored in the database, so I'll be able to look back over time and see how these post-weigh-in models perform. Moving on, Sean Sharef, Steve Asplund. This is our first heavyweight fight here. The confidence in Steve dropped a lot, so he weighed in pretty heavy compared to Sean Sharef. Sean weighed in 10 pounds lighter at 251. Steven weighed in at 161. The models do and always have known all of these guys' past weigh-ins. maybe I will build a hover effect in here that will show their previous 5 weigh-ins, just so we can get a feel for whether or not they're bigger or smaller than they were in the past, because I think that does matter to the models. I just have no way of knowing for sure. One thing we can do here is take a look at how things have changed. Let's zoom out a little bit and see weight. See, we are getting weight already matters quite a bit for heavyweights. Obviously, more than anywhere else, there's bigger discrepancies here, but we are seeing a boost here, which makes sense because now with post-fight weigh-ins, we have additional metrics that are being put into this weight category. 4.8, 9.9, 7.2, and this one basically dumped to nothing. This one still doesn't give a shit about the weight. All right, just some interesting little features to look at. See what this is going to be more of a long-term play to see what happens over time. See if it's worth laying additional money. For example, if Steve Asplund had bumped up here, because I feel like my models already valued him slightly less than the book did, I don't know that I would put any additional money here. But I can see there being cases where I would. I think Jamie Lynn Horth had the post-weigh-in models done more to improve her stats. I think I could have seen myself laying additional money on that fight. Oh, God, I don't want to see this fight. If Neil Magny wins in the 3rd round in this fight, I may just blow this whole thing up. We may just call it quits after that, guys. Look at this. We see another drop-off. Yaroslav Amosov dropped off pretty significantly on all 3. Minus 400. Definitely not putting more money on him. All right, Johanderson Brito and Isaac Thompson. Not Thomas, guys. This is Isaac Thompson. Pretty much weighed in at the same thing. Both of them pushing the limit. Isaac Thompson did weigh in significantly later than Johanderson Brito, if you care about that too much. We do see a pretty healthy boost in most of the models, though. His average certainly would have gone up. We can definitely no longer get plus 315 anymore. I think he's down to like plus 180, plus 185. I got a really good line on this. I tried to get him at plus 360, dropped fast to plus 330, and quick again to plus 315. I'm happy with what I got. Looking at these numbers, I feel like if you haven't gotten in on Isaac Thompson yet, you probably should throw a little bit there if you're so inclined. Jillian Robertson, Amanda Lemos, both at the higher end of the limit. Really no surprise. Oh, hey, bonus drop alert on the sports book. We're sitting exactly where we were. We do see Jillian Robertson bumped up a little bit by the most confident model. Now we've got one all the way up at 58%. The other two still a coin flip. Honestly, Amanda Lemos may have made up a little bit of ground if we look at these if we average these out. Jasik? Jack, I don't know how to pronounce your name, bro, but thank you, sir. Welcome in. We do see a little bit of difference post-weigh-in. A little bit in favor of Jillian, maybe. I need to add a little section in this that will average these out for me. I don't know how much it matters, but over on the Discord, I have been chatting with somebody who's been using the Kelly criterion. And to do that, they've been averaging out my models and using like an implied probability based on what the books have. And they apparently made a good amount of money. They said they've tripled their bankroll since September 3rd. So I am digging deep into a new betting strategy, y'all. I'm going to see what I can find there. It looks like it will be betting on less fights in total, but we can potentially risk more of the bankroll for a much, much higher return. So I'm digging deep into the math. I'm really pulling out all the stops here. I've started writing code already to get us a very accurate estimate of, or of just a good estimate of how accurate all of these models are, because that's what's going to make the Kelly criterion work the best. So over this time away from the UFC, I plan on putting a lot of work into that and seeing what we can come up with. Anyway, good boost here from Jillian Robertson. Could be a good look for you if you're interested. I don't know what those lines move to. Let's have a quick look and see if Robertson has gotten better or worse for us. Where is she at? Minus 200. That line has moved a lot. I got her at minus 163. She's currently at minus 200. We're still split, though. There is still one model that thinks Lemos is the favorable bet here. Could I explain a bit on how the models work? Yes, I will do my best to break this down very simply. These models take a slew of information from across the interwebs. This camera position is about as bad as it possibly could be. They take a slew of information about fights from across the interwebs. In that, I've put all of that into a database and broken it all down by attributes, let's say. So we have things like win percentage, loss percentage, total TKO wins, what percentage of their fights they've won by TKO, what percentage of their fights they've lost by TKO. We break it down more granularly when we look at their last 3 fights and their last 5 fights, because out of all of the testing I've done, I've seen that those two categories, their last 3 fights and their last 5 fights, are the most important. I tried to look at the last 3 years, the last 2 years, and stuff like that, but there's a lot of inconsistency there because some folks have no fights in the last 2 years. Some folks have 8 fights in the last 2 years. I'm looking at you, Kevin Holland. That just doesn't work. I tried it. I can't find any consistency there. So we do 3 fights and 5 fights. Those are super important. And I put those into an algorithm that decides how important everything is. It decides how important their wins are, how important their losses are, how important it is that they've fought consistently over periods of time. So if you see somebody who regularly has fights like every 3 months, and then you have somebody who fought 3 months ago, but then maybe didn't fight for like 12 months before that, and then only had a gap of like 4 months before that, in some weight divisions, the models absolutely hate that. It'll just dump on somebody because they've had 2 years away, which could very much be the situation here in this Teresa Bleda fight. I think a lot of people like her because of her recent fights, and I think the models are kind of fading her because that layoff just hasn't traditionally done well in this division. It's really hard for me to say specifically, but I do have these little breakdowns, and you see regularity 16.5%. Regularity here, though, is only 10.7%. Anyway, it takes all of that data, and I train a series of models against that. So each one of these is separate models. They use those numbers in different ways and generate these outputs, these numbers. And these numbers are what I use to lay my wagers. I'm trying to find a way to make these numbers mean more than they do. For example, find more value plays. Bet on the underdog more often, even though the whole group of models don't necessarily think that that fighter is going to win because the value's there. But right now what we do is 2 of these models, the pre-weigh-in models, favor Jamie Lynn Horth. So I'm going to bet on Jamie Lynn Horth. She's an underdog, so I bet 1 unit. If all 3 models had agreed that she was likely to win, I would have bet 1.5 units. I started doing that more recently, the 1 unit scaling up to 1.5, because the sports book that I play at gives a lot more returns, like weekly and monthly bonuses, if I'm betting a larger percentage of my bankroll. And those bonuses add enough to my bankroll that it's worth increasing the risk wherever I can. I think I just droned on about that for way too long. I hope you understood. If you've got more specific questions, please ask. But that's, in general, that's kind of a breakdown of how it all works. What's the difference between these models and the post weigh-in models? All right, let's bump these out real quick and I'll show you. All right, that is a terrible example. That one's probably good. So what changed here was that I took the weigh-in results and fed them back into the machine learning algorithms to see, again, I just can't find, this is a bad this is a bad division to explain this using, but I took the weigh-in results after the weigh-ins happened this morning. I fed all those weigh-ins back into the database. And over the past couple of weeks, I've been training up new models that use those weigh-in results. And so what it does is it says, what's the difference in actual weight between these two on the day of the weigh-in? And what's the difference in their actual weight and the weight class that they're part of? So if we come up here, Teresa Bleda weighed in at 126. The actual division is 125. So it says, okay, there's a 1 pound discrepancy. She is +1 over this weigh-in. Jamie Lynn Horth also +1 over that weigh-in. And compared to each other, the difference is 0. So all it does is it takes that and it adds it to all of the other data that was going into these predictions here. That's it. Is it just adds 3 new markers to make predictions based off of. So I started testing this a couple months back and just seeing what I could add in and seeing what the differences were in the accuracy of the models. And I tested across a bunch of weight classes, just like theory crafting and stuff like that. And I got a nice boost of anywhere between 1 and 2% for almost every single model by adding in the post weigh-in results. And 1 to 2% that's big. We're talking 1 to 2% today. If that converts into 1 to 2% ROI over the course of this year, since beginning of February, I've gone from $113 bankroll to a bankroll of $585.10. If every single week along that had increased by just 1 additional percent, my ROI was 1% higher, this number would be a lot higher. I don't even know. I can't even do the math. There's too many weeks, and I'm not that smart. I would have to sit down and work it all out. But we would see a dramatic difference between 585 and where it theoretically would be with a 1% increase. And so I fight for those. I fight for tenths of a percent. And so when I saw a 1% increase by adding those weigh-in numbers, it was a dead giveaway. I knew for sure I was putting time into it. Now it's just continuing to track it down over time and figuring out where I can bet and how I can bet to really optimize this 1 to 2%. I think it might be as simple as just adding another quarter to half unit return when the post weigh-in models align with where we're at already. But you're going to have to wait. I'm going to have to run numbers. We're going to do some math and figure this out. Big Guns, welcome in. Brother, I appreciate you, man. You've been around for a long time. I respect it. I'm always happy to see you pop up in the comments. I'm glad to see you here now. Not going to lie, I like a lot of underdogs this week. That's crazy. I didn't take well, I did now. I didn't take underdogs early, but with the Lance Gibson add-in and Bobby Green and then this other one, this Isaac Thompson, those 2 late ones, I picked up 2 pretty significant underdogs there. I was all over Bruno and Van last week. That Van win really capped off my night, man. Yeah, Marab kind of burned everybody, but that's how it goes. It just happens that way sometimes. Weigh-in result means only specific differences in the weigh-in, not their actual weight in the cage. It is just weigh-in results. I could not. There is no way that I could predictably gather their walk-in weight often enough, or even their walk-around weight. This is an idea I've thrown around forever of how you could do that, but everything I found not even close to enough fights. I would be dropping thousands, maybe close to tens of thousands of fights out of the database by trying to put that in there. And the largest predictor, the biggest boost I've ever seen to the bankroll is just increasing the number of fights that the models have to train from. So anything I do that significantly cuts into how many fights go into the training set, it's out the door. I just can't do it because I drop way too much money doing that. It's only been 280 days since Bobby fought. Yeah, and he's taken this on 4 days. I'll pull it up. I believe that's accurate. I have no reason to believe it's not accurate. But sometimes, don't let me lie to you. I would be lying if once in a blue moon I don't catch a small discrepancy in the database. But I haven't in a long time. There's not been issues with the database in a very long time because it was all coding issues back in the day. I don't manually input any of this stuff. Mauricio Ruffy, March 8th. Yeah, 280 days sounds right on the money. Can I ask what bookie you were using? I'm from Europe and I've never seen that kind of bonus. I cannot talk about that here. Some friends of mine who run a similar channel for live betting got the axe like twice in the same night for talking about sports books. If you go to any of my recent videos and click on the Discord, I've got a channel in there where we talk about sports books. Me and other people in there share the books we use. We share what kind of bonuses we get, all sorts of stuff. I'm more than happy to talk about it there, but I cannot and will not be bringing up any specific bookies on the stream or on the channel. It is too big of a risk. They will cut my channel down and it ain't even that big. All right, let's keep looking. So next we got Gibson and Green, both weighed in at 158.5. It was scheduled for 160. Yo, what's up, Patty? Welcome in, man. Both of these were scheduled. They were scheduled at 160, so 158.5 is a little strange. This one, I would not put too much stake in this. This was run against models that are designed for 155. Both of these guys are lightweights, so it does make sense, but we could very easily get some weird numbers on the weigh-in results because it expects that both of them were attempting to make 155. So I would not put too much stake in this. For those of y'all who weren't here super early, I did point out the top models in both cases. Everywhere moving forward, it's the most accurate, moving down to the least accurate models. So you're going to see numbers that are theoretically the best at the top. And as we get to the bottom, usually it's not making much of a difference. Usually it's 1%, maybe 1.5% total difference in theoretical accuracy, but it does drop off as you get closer to the bottom. Anyway, the 155 model agrees with where everything else was at. They still all like Lance Gibson here. What's up, Darwin? Hey, thank you, sir. I'm happy to see you too. But yeah, so we're still high on Lance Gibson here. I wonder if his lines moved much. This is going to be a weird one no matter what. It's run against lightweight models. They're fighting at 160. Both of these guys took it on exactly 0.5 days notice. Looking at the sports book, I know you guys can't see this still. Plus 165 for Lance. So we are on the right side of this line early. From your observation, how do you think, what's the most important statistic which involves fights the most? I'm going to assume what you're asking is based on what I've seen, what stat matters the most to the models? If that's what you're asking, that is super, super dependent on what division we're talking about. So in the lighter divisions, oh yeah, I can't even pop this up because it's looking for 160 stats, which don't exist. So, so yeah, very, very dependent on what division we're talking about. So men's lighter divisions, let's say probably 145 and below, age. Age is by far one of the most. So let's go look at Joe Anderson, Brito, Isaac Thompson. I keep calling this dude Thomas. It is not Thomas. Age in most of these is pretty high up there. You will see fight results often overwhelming, but age does matter a lot. It looks like throughout over time we are getting results bumped up quite a bit too. Results. This is a lot bigger than it used to be for 145, but for the women's divisions, age is like, I mean, it kind of matters, but I almost feel like your experience matters a lot more. Younger females with a lot less experience are generally at a huge disadvantage. It's really strange. Age doesn't, and I think it's because you're not really getting beat up as much. You're not taking as strong of blows. I don't think the concussive forces are building as much over time for the women's divisions. Now that's just me spitballing. I don't know for sure, but it's kind of weird since there are a whole lot of steak ads all over YouTube videos. You aren't joking, but the way that their rules are written is that I can't talk about or promote anything that is not legal in the region. And whose region? Is it your region? Is it my region? I don't know. I don't know. It's they leave it so that they can interpret it however is most favorable for them, I think. And so yeah, I just don't even mess with it. I don't want to get nixed. Oh, excuse me. All right, heavyweight. So this is where I think the weigh-in results will make the biggest difference. And we got Kennedy weighed in at 243, 8.5 pounds lighter than Marcus Buchecha at 251.5. Before the weigh-ins, we had Kennedy 55 to 67%. Are models that are better predictors of success both moved up. We saw both of them boost Kennedy up from 55%. Highest predictor is now 63%, 66%, now 77.8%. Now the last one, the lowest predictor, has dropped significantly. Our average probably has not moved too much. Let's see where Kennedy moved at the books. Kennedy is now a minus 128. I did not get a good line on this, but it looks like if I was going to put more money out there, this would be a favorable place to do it. Do keep in mind, the models have no idea that Buchecha has about a Brazilian BJJ fights in his life with an incredible win rate. They don't know anything about his life outside of MMA. So keep that in mind. We did see Kennedy get his heel torn apart by Walter Walker. I don't know how good Buchecha's takedowns are, but hopefully he gets knocked out diving for a heel. I don't know. He'll eat a nice shovel hook or something. Oh, excuse me. That would be great. Ooh, this is my favorite fight on this card right now. We got Melky Zael Costa and Morgan Charrier, something like that. Both of them weighed in at 145.5. It doesn't look like we saw any substantial move on the models. We did see one of them jump up well above 60%, but none of the rest of them moved too much. Our highest predicting model dropped by 5 points almost, 4.5 points. So the lowest model moved by nothing. There's still a pick 'em right now. I just saw it minus 110 both ways. So little difference there. Still favoring Melquizael Costa. I really like this fight. I think this fight's going to be killer. Cesar Almeida and Cesare Olenjaychuk. This is Mikhail Olenjaychuk's brother, by the way. I had to find out. Cesar weighed in all the way at the limit. Olenjaychuk a little bit less. Wow, we saw some big moves here. This is the biggest moves I've seen so far. I mean, that's a giant move. This makes me a lot less worried about my minus 200 on Cesare. I wasn't too happy taking that line, if I'm going to be honest with you, but he's moved to minus 205, practically the same. But seeing all those numbers go up does make me feel good. 56 to 68, 56 again to 62. That's a pretty big bump. Let's see if there's anything substantial here that obviously weight got bumped up a little bit. Everything else, I like to see that everything else is practically the same because that means that we really are only looking at differences that were brought about by the weigh-in results. Do you ever put the percentage the models spit out into odds and then maybe take the bookies, cut off stronger favorites? Might be better for actually comparing. So big guns, I was talking about this before. I've looked several times in the past at using the Kelly criterion and using these outputs from the models to generate some sort of probability rating per se from the from the sports books, and then betting on potentially taking the underdog a lot more often. So even if I just use these percentages and take the underdog when it implies that I should, the results financially through all of my testing are basically exactly the same. The reason that I don't do that currently is because of this graph that I put out every single week, my bankroll history graph, because it makes this graph move up and down like somebody's having a damn heart attack, man. And right now I'm trying to build viewership. So I want trending up as nice, as smoothly as possible, and as consistently as possible. The variance, if I bet based on value alone, is so insane that, I mean, we could legit see like a bad 5, 6, 7 week run, but when we were to make that turnaround, it would just skyrocket. And so over the course of a year or so, I would see pretty much the exact same financial returns. But for people who don't understand the ins and outs of variance and betting and stuff like that, all they would see is me go on a bad run and think, this thing's shit, it's never going to work. And so I bet with this strategy for essentially the same amount of money because it's just more consistent. It just looks better on a graph. It looks less crazy. But there's a gentleman in my Discord that I've been talking to recently who is using the Kelly criterion, and he's tripled his bankroll since the beginning of September. So I am doing a deep dive into his strategy, and we're gonna see what we can dig up. This new year might bring a whole new betting strategy. We may not be on this modified 1+ anymore. You might not see us betting to return 1.5 units or betting 1.5 units anymore. We may not be betting every fight on the card anymore. We may be really optimizing what we're betting, and then based on the implied differential between my odds and the book odds, we may be betting 0.5, 0.8 units here, and then 11.5 units here. We may be taking underdogs for multiple 2, 3 units sometimes. Our variance may go through the roof, but if the potential profits are that much greater, I mean, I'm in it to show you guys where the biggest money is. I'm in it to to figure out how to make the most, the easiest way possible, while MMA bets, while this market is still so soft that all this money is to be had. Because I don't think you can go do this on the NFL, the NBA, the MLB. Those markets are too tight. People are too good. But that's not true in MMA. In MMA, it's a very, very weak market, and there's a lot of places to make money. So it's about right now. I'm playing with money line. I'm going to look at fight goes the distance and over unders in the future. But it's all about making money here. Why do the numbers shift after weigh-ins? Yes, on a cat, it shifts after weigh-ins because there are new features. There's new points of interest for the models to look at that all revolve around what these two fighters weighed in at. So it's going to say Giga weighed in at 146, so he is +1 over the weight class. Kevin weighed in at 145, so he is a 0 compared to the weight class. Giga weighed in at 146, so he is +1 compared to Kevin. So it adds those features to all of the features that the models were using in the past, and it runs the models all over again and says, what do we think happens now? So it's a small increase. It's 1 to 2% increase over the pre-weigh-in models, but it is an increase, and so I'm going to try to find a way to take advantage of it. I was more thinking about what stats are more accurate and important in predicting. That's really hard to say for me. I could only spitball. I could only take guesses. I guess I can't take guesses. I can show you because this is exactly what this is. These are what stats are important. So method is like a breakdown of method of victory, how they win and how they lose. And that's 22%. So for this specific model, the most important thing is how the fighters win and lose. 22% of the decision was made based on what percentage of their wins and losses are KOs, TKOs, and how that compares to their opponents. 17% was just fight results. But then this next model down, this one cares way more about fight results. 50% of the decision is made based on who wins and who loses and what percentage of their career that makes up, and also how recent those wins and losses have come. The actual breakdown, like the really minute breakdown, is so many things that I can hardly even tell you all of what's in there anymore. It's been so long since I've built them. I just go back and I database it over and over again to figure out what's important. Honestly, if Patreon gave access to different strategies for the weekend compared to Tube, I would be down. Okay, well, I need to start building the database for it, but I have been using Kalshi personally and playing around there. And this week they finally posted up the entire card for a fight night. I'll start sharing my Kalshi stuff over there. Yeah, but I'm sure you could use your own strategy outside of the video series. Yeah. Well, to try out theories, honestly, the best way to do it is just to write a program that runs new models and says, this is what the database would have looked like on this date. This is how the models would have predicted those fights. This is where we would have bet, how much it would have cost, and this is how much you would have run and lost. And then I just start that and I go home for the weekend. That's how I do it. And then I come back at the end of the weekend. I'm like, all right, this is how many total fights we looked at. This is how many in each division. This is theoretically how many favorites would have lost, how many underdogs would have lost, how much it would have made over time, and how I would have gotten there. It takes a long time to write those programs. Every time I want to redo it, I spend a lot of time because I have to make sure everything's correct. because if one data point is incorrect and then I let it run for the weekend and I base my whole strategy off of one data point that's incorrect, but it's incorrect for every prediction for this whole theory, I'm fucked. I mean, I can lose myself a ton. You could always do this strategy on YouTube and let us degenerates get crazy betting on Patreon. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea. I've got to find the time to run all of those numbers, but we've got some time coming up. We've got some time coming up. I think the next video I'm going to put out during this break is just going to be, it's going to be the most boring video ever, guys. I don't know how I'm going to make it interesting, but it is just going to be numbers. It's going to be how many bets we won and lost since February, how many favorites and underdogs cashed, how much we won and lost on favorites in that time, how many in each division, each weight class. I think I'm just going to give a full breakdown. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys even like these numbers as much as I do, or if you just follow along to see how to make money. But I don't know what else to do over this break, so I'm going to do something. Did we ever even look at these? Kevin dropped a little bit, jumped up big, about the same. Average is probably the same. I called him Kevin Vallejos. And then I heard, I don't remember who it was on the broadcast this morning, Vallejos. Where do they pronounce double L as like a GJ sound? Minus 330 now. I got him at minus 285. I like it. I like it. That's a good little boost. All right, main event. Anaket, love to hear it. Thanks, man. Yeah, I just try not to bore the shit out of you guys, and so I keep trying to update the visuals and everything to keep it interesting and help people follow along. But I just haven't figured out how to gain any traction with this YouTube thing yet. So I don't know. We need a boost here pretty bad, but until then, I'm gonna keep going anyway. What else do you do? Both of these guys weighed in at 126. Manel, dude, barely weighed in. I mean, he walked in at like the last second. I don't know how much time he really had left, but it felt like he barely made it. Oh, wow, that's a big jump, big jump. Most predictive model dropped a little bit, but the other two jumped up a lot. This jumped up. Safety inspector, what do you mean by the heat map? Are you talking about this? You talking about the Marimekko chart? I need to start posting these up more often. I think what I may do, because there's only one for each weight class, like every single week, every women's 125 is going to have the exact same chart as every other women's 125. So I think I may drop it on like a community post for anybody that's interested. We'll see. I need to use these more, but I'm also trying not to make like 45-minute videos every week because my watch time is fucking a third of the video no matter what I do. So I may as well keep it short. I guess that's not true. If it's a third of the video no matter what, I should just make a 24-hour video so at least I'll get 8 hours of watch time out of everybody. Oh, you guys are fucked. You guys are never going to... My videos are about to go just epic long after this. Don't understand why you aren't the largest channel. Well, I've been telling people, I've had several people ask me, who's the best YouTube predictor? And I'm like, I tried to be humble for a while. I'm the fucking best. You guys are going to see. If you're not watching UFC, if you're not watching the... God, what is this channel? UFC Predictions Tracker. If you aren't watching that guy, watch. In the next couple of weeks, he's going to drop a year in review. So my January wasn't the best. I was still on V1 of the model. But starting February, I went fucking ham. Dude, if I'll be on the top list almost certainly for favorites, for underdogs, for overall predictors, and the people who really are keeping up with me right now on Predictions Tracker, they're only doing it because they aren't predicting as many fights as I am. I've predicted 99% of every UFC fight that's happened this year. Very few exceptions that I haven't picked fights, and it's just because I haven't had enough data to put it in my models. The people who are close to predicting at the accuracy that I'm at have not predicted nearly as many fights. Almost certainly. Almost certainly there's nobody that's been predicting all year long with as many fights as I have that is anywhere close to my level of accuracy. It won't happen. It won't happen because all these guys are watching tape study and doing stupid shit. They should get out there with their damn dowsing rods because that's how accurate they are. Like, they're guessing. They're spitballing shit. Anyway, I can tell you guys this forever. Go follow UFC Predictions Tracker. You'll see. You'll see. He's going to put out a review video. But I don't know, man. I don't know why I'm not getting traction. I don't understand it. Don't really care anymore. That's not true. I do care. I wish I had 1,000 viewers every damn week. 10,000. 1,000's not big enough. We're going 10,000. Anyway, look at this. We got a boost on Manel Cape. This is, God, he's already a minus 280 though. I'm going to run some numbers real quick. We're going to average this out and see what this really means. 54.3 plus 67.05 plus, did I type that wrong? No. 63.85 divided by 3, 61.73. That's still not a minus 280. Is this gonna, yeah, I thought so. I don't know what's on there. You guys don't look at that page. I'm just kidding. I don't care. Odds Jam. Odds converter. That's what I'm looking for. Please do on Ballin. Share any ideas you got, man. I love new ideas. I thrive on new ideas. Profit chart speaks for itself. I don't think some people believe it, man. I don't think some people believe it. What did we say that was? 61.7. Yeah, it's not good. 61.7333. Yeah, it's American odds only minus 161. So theoretically, we're still getting shit odds on Manel, even with the boost. You shouldn't be betting him, but I don't know how accurate that really is, y'all. I don't know. That's what this break's gonna tell us. This break is gonna tell us how do these numbers trend with the book odds, with the actual results. Because I found, like I said, I got somebody in Discord who he's made good money. He's found a pattern. And he's just averaging these out. And then he's comparing it to the implied probability based on the book odds. And then he's betting, whatever, half Kelly or something against it. And he said he's tripled his bankroll since September, bro. That's so much better than I've done. I had a little bit of a drop off in that same time period. Not a bad one. I mean, the graph still looks fucking money, but we did. Oh, things got gross, though. Things got gross just because you guys are here. PFL didn't do shit. We got good PFL cards coming up this weekend, though. We got a nice boost to PFL. Hopefully a nice boost to PFL. I think I bet 5 fights on this card. 6 fights? On PFL, you're up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 fights. 3 favorites, 1 underdog. All of them confident predictions. Check out the Patreon. It's free, y'all. Go jump on that Patreon. It's got the other promotions. Hopefully more stuff soon. We're going to work on fight goes the distance soon. That's the next one. I was going to do over-unders. Now it's fight goes the distance because I got some friends doing some live betting and they're making good money. But having an expected chance of fight going the distance other than what the market thinks it is, I think could be really helpful. So I think I'm going to work there next. Also, I've got a second computer. It's a shit computer, but all it does is run new models. I've been thinking about adding some other promotions. The ones that I currently have the ability to bet on include things like Octagon and Cage Warriors. My only concern is that I still won't find a lot of bets there because there's going to be a lot of guys whose birthdays are unknown, who don't have reach, which no reach isn't really a big deal anymore, but no height is a big deal. That one matters a surprising amount. At least in the past it has. Maybe I can try again without it. But no birthdays is a big problem. So I don't know where I'm going yet. I think it's going to be designing an entire new model around Fight Goes the Distance. I say an entire new model, an entire new series of models around Fight Goes the Distance. Those are big plans, though. That's something that takes months of total development and testing, and it's really like it's digging in deep to figure out exactly what matters. But Octagon would be sick. I have to go look. I'm going to go look through some of their old data on Tapology or SureDog or wherever else I might be able to find them and just see how many fights I would on average find weekly and see if it's worth it, because sometimes it doesn't, like one championship, like man, I spend a bunch of time, not me, my computer spends a bunch of time keeping up with one championship and running new models and updating the models to get, I mean, shit, for 3 weeks in a row, I got one bet on 3 separate cards, and all 3 of them were canceled. 3 consecutive weeks, I dealt with keeping the Octagon models updated to get a single bet that ended up being canceled. It was just a waste of my damn time. Amasov sub? Bro, I don't know. I hate Neil Magny, man. Which isn't true. I love Neil Magny as a person. I hate this man for that last fight, dude. This was some nonsense right here. The ref, too. Don't even get me started. This fight was over. I won this bet. You can't end a fight and then take it back. But Neil Magny, he's an upset machine, bro. Do you take Amasov sub? I don't know. What's up, Andre? Elijah, I'm not really the guy that does the method of victory. Like, hey, yo, what's up, dude? I've been talking about you so much, bro. I've been digging deep into your numbers. Dude. I'm gonna find it. If you're finding success there, we're gonna find out how much success can be found there. Magny made me lose 3K 2 times. I actually won. I won on the Elizeu Zalescu fight. This Jake Matthews fight, you got screwed, bro. He won. Jake Matthews won that fight. It was some bullshit. That shit ain't fair at all. But yeah, I'm not the method of victory guy, man. I can't tell you to go out and bet somebody sub or anything like that. In all honesty, my numbers don't even imply that you should be betting Amasov here. I wouldn't even call Magny a fraud checker, bro. He's just like Magny is the new incarnation of Darren the Damage Elkins. That's what he is. Magny is like, you beat the shit out of him until you break yourself. Like, you just get so you either wear yourself out thinking you're going to finish the dude, or you just get so distraught, like so torn down on the fact that you spent all this time, 18 minutes, 20 minutes, what 20 minutes, that's way too long. Fights don't 18 minutes, whatever. You spent the last 11, 12 minutes beating the hell out of this guy, and he's still there. And he's still coming at you. He's still doing work. Like Magny's the third round comeback dude. I appreciate that, man. What you've done with them is impressive. Now we just need to work together. The models are going to keep getting better. They only get more accurate from here. They don't get worse. Worse doesn't happen. We get more fights. We get more data. We get more better. Like, the models get better. And so now that I've been talking about and looking at Kelly Criterion solutions for a while. And I just haven't found them. And I gave up on it for a bit because I've been reasonably profitable consistently with this this modified 1+ strategy. But seeing what you did, man, I got a break coming up between fights and I'm going ham, dude. We're running some big numbers. We're going to see what some Kelly Criterion strategies look like over the course of a year, over 1,000 fights. I need to see how many fights are currently in my database. I'm going to find out how many fights are here real quick. 97,000 fights. And so that means that probably 50,000 of them are usable. 50,000 of them have both opponents with enough fights and enough history to actually use. I would have to check. That takes more time. But if I got 50,000 and I know I can go back a year because I already did it all this year. So I can probably theory craft on the last 3 years worth of fights, all the fights, all UFC, all PFL, all LFA, all Bellator, because that's even going to include some Bellator fights. So we can get, that's got to be a couple thousand fights that we can use to run against some new betting strategies and see what we come up with. So, yeah, I'll be digging in deep. We're gonna figure out what's here. We're gonna see if we can go from an expected 4.2% ROI, which the last time I calculated it, that's where I averaged out about, was right about 4.2% is my expected ROI every week. I'd love to see that like 5.5. And that's a big difference. 1.3%, that's huge over the course of a year. But yeah, we're going to see. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. I'm going to write that down. So we can do wins and losses this year, plus minus money, ROI per division, and promotion. Let's see where we actually ended up this year. That's working on a new video idea. Don't know how long it's going to take me to put together, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, appreciate y'all hanging out. I think that's all I've got. Unless y'all got more questions or something. I was just interested to see what all the new numbers did. It doesn't look bad. I mean, there really just wasn't anything too different. You know, of the numbers where we saw improvements post weigh-in, we also see that reflected in the line movement. That's a big thing. The models still think that this man right here, even at like whatever, plus 150, whatever he's at now, the models still think this man is significantly undervalued. But Joe Anderson Brito, he's had some time away. Isaac is taking this fight on short notice. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this fight. We're going to watch Costa and Cherrier go ham, bro. I think this is my peg for fight of the night, guys. Don't miss this one. I'm just kidding. Don't let me say that because I'll jinx the fight. That shit will be boring as hell. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate you coming out. I think I'm going to do this more often. I will. I built the whole page. This is my favorite Vietnamese feet stream. You seeing feet? I don't know Vietnamese. I don't have pretty feet. I think you came into the wrong place. I like the name, though. The Tasteful Thickness. Is this Mackenzie Dern? What are we doing here? Oh. All right, guys. This was fun. I'll be back sometime. I don't know if I've got anything to live stream for a while, but I will be back eventually. Definitely to recap the weigh-ins for next year. Paramount Plus, baby. We're getting away from ESPN. Anyway, y'all are great. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. I may have come in the wrong place, but I came at the right time. Yeah. Joshua Van, fake champ. Hey, you know what, though? That put real money in my pocket, though. You say what you want, bro, but let's pop that up real quick. Fake champ, but 2.85 units plus money. We'll see. I'm probably going to tank next time. He'll get that fight against Tatsuro Taira, and the models. The models have always been hot on Joshua Van, so they'll probably shit the bed there. But we'll see. We'll see. I can never predict what the models will do, but I can tell you I'm going to bet them. I can claim that win. That money went straight to the bankroll. That money went straight to the bankroll. Hey, dude, I got to take the losses and I got to take the wins. I've lost some big money in some important places. Look, you think the Joshua Van win was good. Look at this. Piotr Jan, we predicted a coin flip on this fight. But my strategy had me bet Marab at minus 400. Fortunately for only 4 units and not 6. But the Joshua Van win went right back to the books. They took it right back. You can't win them all. You just got to win over time. As long as this graph keeps doing this, I don't care what happens week to week, man. Don't care. This next week could go and dump, and I just believe that we're gonna climb right back, man. We always do. We always do. These were big losses back in the day. Now they're tiny. This one, soon it'll look just like this one. This one too. All of a sudden, man, they look tiny. They disappear into the graph. All 3 models had it a coin flip. I had some folks who bet that one for value on the coin flip and made fucking bank. That's why we're reevaluating the strategy. That's why we're taking this 6-week UFC break. I think I am still going to put out videos for some other stuff. We got some PFL coming up for sure. Maybe some LFA. I'll still make some prediction videos. They're just not going to be UFC videos because we got no UFC. But 6 stream, my autism is triggered. I'm not even sure what to make of that. Hopefully it's triggered in a good way. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Really leaving this time. Y'all take it easy.